Welcome, welcome back students. Today we are going to start a new chapter, that is chapter number 2. Name of the chapter is Population Dynamics. Before starting this chapter, I want to discuss some questions related to chapter number 1, that is representation of geographical features. As we have already completed this chapter, only the question and answers part are left out, and in that I'll discuss the topo sheet. Come to your page number 20. Come to page number 20, and in page number 20 a topo sheet has been given to you. See the questions based on topo sheet. After studying this topo sheet, these questions must be answered. So although we have already understood what is a nucleated settlement, dispersed, linear settlement, color schemes, and the cross sections of every relief feature, whether it is mountain, hill, plateau, we have already completed it. So now the last part left out is application of these features, application of what we have learnt, applying the theoretical knowledge over here. So let's study this topo sheet. First, study the topo sheet carefully. See the type of the settlements given over here. The color scheme, red color has been used, yellow has been used, and even the green color has been used. Some contour lines have been given to you. So whatever we have read, everything is given on this topo sheet. Right? Whatever we have read, everything is given in the topo sheet. Now what is our work? Our work is to study this topo sheet and answer the questions given here. So let's try to interpret this topo sheet. See how many villages have been given in this topo sheet. A village called Oda has been given. Village called Malpuria has been given. Sargadi has been given, Talenagar, Ranoi and Ratanpur. See how many villages have been given. And if you observe carefully, in every village there is a kind of settlement. Whether it is nucleated, dispersed or linear, we have to interpret now. Then come to the southeastern part, that is, come to the greenwash part. In the greenwash part, what does greenwash indicate? It indicates that it is a forested area. And in that, some contour lines have been given. Observe carefully. On that part, contour lines have been given. And what kind of contour lines are they? The contour lines are very close to each other. Particularly in the southeastern part, in grid A, right, in square A, contour lines are very close to each other, very narrow. What does those contour line indicates? The contour lines are very close to each other. It indicates that it might be a hill or a mountain, because in a hill or mountain the contour lines are very close to each other. So what else has been given? What else has been given? So let's study. Let's start with the first question. Carefully observe the given part of the topo sheet and answer the following questions. The first question is, in what way does the pattern of settlement of village Malpuria different from village Ranoi? See, the pattern at Malpuria, they are asking us, what is the difference between the pattern at Malpuria and village Ranoi? How is the pattern at Malpuria? How is the pattern at Malpuria? It is This is the pattern at Malpuria. Let's see what is the pattern at Ranoi. See how is the pattern at Ranoi. This is the pattern at village Ranoi. This is the pattern at village Malpuria and this is the pattern at village Ranoi. Now say which kind of settlement these two are. This is the linear settlement, right? Because linear settlements comes up at the banks of the river, or this may be a railway line or a road line, and on the either side the settlement comes up. That is what a linear settlement is. But see the settlement at Malpuria. Not too many settlements are there. That means and settlements are not close together also. This is dispersed. This is dispersed settlement, but Ranoi has linear settlement. So what is the answer? Village Malpuria different from village Ranoi. How it is different? In village Ranoi we have linear settlement, but in village Malpuria the settlement is dispersed. Now come to the second question. What type of settlements is found in village Ratanpur? Come to the village Ratanpur. Detect where is village Ratanpur. See the kind of settlement given in village Ratanpur. Question 2. Ratanpur. If you observe carefully, in Ratanpur, the houses are very close to each other and the number of settlements is also more. First thing, the houses are close to each other, and second thing, many settlements are there. So, if this is the condition or this is the scenario, we call this type or pattern of settlement as what? We call it as nuclear settlement. When the houses are close to each other, we call this pattern as nuclear settlement. First thing in village Ratanpur is that the houses are very close to each other. That is the first feature. Second one, there are many houses. There are many houses. So, by using these two features, we can safely say that it is a nuclear settlement village. Now come to the question number 3. What does the brown line in the southeast known as? What does the brown lines in the southeast known as? Come to the southeast part. Already brown line has been given. The brown line indicates the contour lines that we know. Brown line in the southeast known as? They are known as the contour lines. This is the answer. Question number 3, answer is contour lines. Come to the question number 4. See the question number 4. With reference to the physical feature, what is indicated by the large number of contour lines in the southeast of the map? With reference to the physical feature, what is indicated by a large number of contour lines over that part? See, this part is filled with contour lines, and the contour lines are very close to each other. That means this part must be having a mountainous area, or it must be having a steep slope. So we can say that that part contains a mountainous area or a mountainous region. That is the question number 4. Because mountainous area, mountainous region, or it may be a hill part also, because by the nature of the contour lines, as they are very close to each other, we can say that it is a mountainous area. Come to question number 5. See, how are the contours of square A and square B different from each other? Observe the contour in square A. Contour in square A is very close to each other. Contour in square A is very close to each other, particularly the summit point, particularly the middle point. This point, the contours are very close to each other. This is of square A. Now observe square B. In case of square B, in the middle part, the contours are bit wider. The contour is bit wider. There is a space between the contour lines. So what does this indicate? This indicates a mountain, but this may indicate a hill also. So this is what? This is how the contour lines are different. You can write in this way that the contours are close to each other in square A, but the contours are wider in square B. This is the difference between the two contours. So here we complete our first chapter, and that too the topo sheet part. So after completing the topo sheet, let's start with a new chapter, and the name of the chapter is Population Dynamics. As the name itself suggests, name is giving us a sneak peek into what we are going to study. Here in this chapter, for sure, we are going to study about the population of an area, or for that matter, population of any country, region, continent. Population can be of any type. Now, this is population. What do you mean by dynamics here? Dynamics is a word which usually comes up in science, particularly physics, right? Now, you may be thinking why this word has come up over here. Why in geography? Because what do you mean by dynamics? Dynamics, the simple meaning of dynamics is change. Simple meaning is change. Change in population. Change in the structure of the population, because population of any country or any area cannot be static. Population changes with time, isn't it? In 1900s or in 1920, population of India was very meager. But see the population today India has. In 2020, we are 100 plus crore population, 120 crore population country. So see the changes that has happened over the period of 1 century, 100 years. So this is what we are going to study in this topic. How the population changes, or what are the reasons behind this change of the population. And this topic in geography we study under human geography. Because here we are dealing with people. We are dealing with humans. So under human geography We usually study subjects like population, urbanization, and most of the topics given in this standard relates to human geography. So let's start. What is a population? We know that we are going to study about population change. So what is a population now? The human resource of a country is population, right? The humans residing on the surface of the earth or on the surface of any country, can I call them as a population? Or the group of people residing over a place, can we call that as a population? Is there any specific definition to term what is population? Do you think so? What is population? A group of people residing over a place, we call them as population. Not population, particularly population is a resource for us. Population is a resource. Like the mineral resource, as the water resource, like any other resource, population is also a resource for any country. It depends on how that resource is being utilized. It depends. So it depends on how the population is being utilized, because this human resource, they are the creators. Humans are the human beings are creators of everything. Maybe an idea, maybe a product, maybe anything, maybe a technological innovation. It is the human mind or brain which is working behind all these things. So humans, they are the creators. So we call them as a resource because they are the creators of an idea. They are the implementers of an idea. They are the executors of an idea. They are also the producers. Human beings are also the producers. Nowadays, technology has been invented. Machines have come up to produce, to manufacture everything. But still then, a human element has remained. Even though it is a era of robotics, robots are doing every sort of work, but still then, human element is behind. Even to create a robotics, human brain was required. Human mind intelligence was working over there. So for every production process, even in this technological era also, humans are required. So we are the producers also, producers of any product, producers of an idea, it can be anything. We are also the consumers. We are also the consumers. We are the consumers of the product, the product which was being created. We are the consumers. Without consumers, all these efforts of the creators and the producers fail. If no one is there to buy your idea, if no one is there to consume what you have produced, then what is the use? Those products will go into the dump yard. That's it, isn't it? So, as the human is playing the role of the creator, producer and consumer, we play a very essential role in any country. Humans play a very essential role, and because of this reason, humans are called as human resource. They are not called as population. Uh, for example, see in any of the multinational companies or in when they hire the people, they have a department called human resource department. They never call it a population department, right? Do they call? When they hire the people for the company, do they call we are hiring population for the company? No, they call we are hiring the resource for our company. A human resource manager is there to do this work. So we are the resource. We can consider ourselves as a resource. Now comes the question whether this human resource is equal throughout the content, throughout the world. Are they equally distributed throughout the world? If so, why? If not, how? If so, they are distributed equally throughout the world. Why is that? Why is that so? If not, if there is unequal distribution, what is the reason behind? And this we are going to study in this pattern of the population distribution. What is this pattern of population distribution? This is nothing but the way the people are spread across the area or across any country or on the surface of the earth. We call it as pattern of population distribution. What is the pattern? What do we mean by pattern of population distribution? It is nothing but the way It is nothing but the way in which people are spread people are spread across the earth's surface. Across the earth's surface. It is called as pattern of population distribution. Underline that. Underline the whole sentence. How the pattern of population distribution differs from one area to other. See, on the surface of the earth, there are 194 to 196 countries. So, in all the countries, this pattern is not the same. In some countries, it is overpopulated. In some countries, it is underpopulated. When we talk of the regions like desert, there is sparse population. When we talk of a plain area or a fertile river valleys, population is overpopulated. So what is the reason behind all these things? Are there any factors which are influencing the pattern of population distribution? Yes, there are certain factors which decide the way in which people get distributed over any country or any region. Which are those? The factors which are influencing our pattern of distribution is, first factor is the natural factor. Natural factor or the geographic factors of an area. Natural factor or geographic factors of an area. Geographic. What do we mean by this term? See, it is nothing but in any country how the natural topography of that area is, how the climatic conditions of that country is, whether that country is too cold that people cannot survive or it is too hot, again people cannot survive, or it is mediocre or in a medium level that people can sustain and survive over that region, or whether it is a totally of a hilly area, mountainous area. What happens if it is a mountainous or a hilly area? If it is a mountainous, we have already done this in nucleated settlements, nucleated, dispersed and linear. What happens if it is a mountainous area? If it is a mountainous area, obviously the population of that area will be very less because people cannot reside in a equal manner. The settlements will be very far off, isn't it? So these are the conditions which decide the pattern of population distribution. For best example, take the example of Sahara or Thar Desert in India. It is the geographic or the natural factors of that region which are influencing the pattern of the population distribution. Because in those regions we cannot survive. How to survive in a desert area? Temperature will be 50 or 52 during the daytime, and during the night time it will be near to the 2 degree or 3 degree during the night time. Temperature is at the extreme level. When such is the condition, how to survive? Or take another example. Come to the countries like northern part of Russia or to the Arctic pole, or the countries which are surrounded or which are snow covered throughout the year. How to survive again in those countries? No productivity, no agricultural production. How to survive? Imagine for a second. When such is the condition, it is impossible to survive. Obviously then, these factors influence, and which is the second factor? Second factor is economic environment of that country. How is the economy of that country? Is the economy flourishing? Is that country offering us many job opportunities? Even on the basis of that, population pattern depends. If the country, for example, take Western European countries, those countries like England, France, Spain, Italy, these are the countries which are economically developed, and in those countries job opportunities are very high. So what is the next result? The result is that people from other parts of the world get attracted to those countries. Why? Because job opportunities are there, standard of living in that country is good, perks which are being given by those companies are good, then obviously one will think of settling over there, moving to that country, settling over there, isn't it? So it also depends on the economic environment. Or now take the example of Africa. The continent of Africa, there are 52 or 54 countries. Except South Africa and few other countries, none of the country is economically advanced. Though continent of Africa is still underdeveloped with primitive tribal culture, wherein you don't find much of the economic opportunities, job opportunities, nothing much is available. So would people prefer to go there and settle? Would people prefer? Because one example I gave you of Western Europe, where the condition is very good. Now I am giving you the example of Africa, where the condition is exactly opposite of what is given in or what is available in West Europe. Now decide, now think by yourself. Would you like to go and settle in Africa? So the pattern of population is definitely dependent on these factors, the physical factors of any area, the climatic conditions of that area, the economic opportunities given by those countries. On the basis of these, there are intra as well as inter countries or inter region differences. Take example of India itself. When we take of India, compare North India with Southern India. The standard of living in Southern India is very high compared to Northern India. And why, what is the reason? Or compare the climatic conditions of North India and the South India. In South India, as we are surrounded by Arabian Sea and the Bay of Bengal on either side, we don't suffer from extremes of climate, not too cold, not too hot. But compare it with North India, which is in the continental location, away from the sea, and that part experiences too much of the cold during the winter season and too much of hotness during the summer season. And you may tell me that yes, population still then North India is thickly populated. Why? Because the only one reason is in that area it is the Indus system, the Ganga system and the Brahmaputra system which is making the difference. It is because of these rivers the area is fertile, and because of this people are thickly populated, not because of the climatic conditions. So it is the culmination of all these factors which influence the pattern of population distribution of any country, any region or any location. So we will continue the next part in our next class. We have reached the last segment of our class and it is homework time now. I have given you only one question, that is why human resource is called as ultimate resource. Think and write your answer. Why they are called as the ultimate resource? What are the reasons behind calling them as the ultimate resource? Please think over, please ponder over this question and write your answer in a structured manner. Let's meet in our next class. Thank you.